did not let me fart, and he did not let me poop.
Burp, burp, burp. Let me burp. No burp. He did not let me burp.
So when you look at that, you might think that clip is funny. You may have to go back and watch it. Maybe you didn't laugh, but guess what? I thought it was funny. Guess who else thought it was funny? Some female on my social media, or some woman. I don't really like saying female, but yeah, she thought it was funny. So we both shared a laugh at that. When I went to the comments, I didn't expect what I had seen. So I'm going to show you the first comment. The comment reads, "A man making fun of a woman's trauma inflicted on her by another man. Sounds right." I'm not going to lie to you. That blew my socks off. And the reason it blew my socks off is because I didn't get anything about number one trauma from that clip. And the second thing is, I know what he was making fun of was her accent. Her accent. How she said poop. Not, and even then, poops and farts are just funny by themselves. But how she said poop, poop. How she said poop. We're mostly Americans on Instagram. That's just what it is. These other countries, they do have their own apps and things like that. But, when it comes to Instagram, it's an American company. So most of the people who are going to see the content are more than likely going to be American because it's still English. And that accent is funny. So that's where the comedy was. The comedy was not in her being abused. It didn't make fun of her situation in any way. All he was highlighting was poop, the accent. What she did was took it and twisted it into him making fun of her trauma. But even then, I was still puzzled by the trauma part. I was still puzzled. So let's just get this out the way. What she did was nasty, and chicks do this a lot. They will grossly misrepresent what you said, misinterpret what you said or did to fit a narrative. And this is the thing. We'll get to the overarching point later, but let's go on to the actual video, because I said, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's something there that I'm missing. Let me actually go and see what this trauma is.
He did not let me fart, and he did not let me poop. And he did not believe that girls farted and pooped. That is sick. That is a sick way of thinking, because everyone does it. The freaking Kardashians poop and fart. It affected me so deeply. I'd be so embarrassed if I accidentally let out a little fart, and he would make me feel so bad for it. And this is a bit TMI, but I would go to his house and my body would suck everything up, and for literally 2 days I could not go to the toilet because he had implanted on my mind that I could not go to the toilet. And I would get really sick because of it. I would have really sore stomachs. I would get really bloated. When I met Adrian, I could not fart in front of him for 6 months. And he was always like, "Why haven't you farted yet?" And I was like, "Because that's gross. I don't want to do that. Ew. That's embarrassing." And he, thank God, he made me feel like it was okay to be a human. And he made me comfortable. And then after 6 months, I was good. And now I'll do anything in front of Adrian. But you will find someone that makes you comfortable as a human being. It's sick to think that way. It's literally psychotic.
I need for you to put in the comments what world we are living in, because this can't be Earth. This can't be Earth. Trauma to women, that's trauma to women. That's trauma to women. That blew my mind when I watched the clip. And we're going to break it down on multiple levels. But trauma to women is a guy not letting them fart, when a guy does not have control of your bowels or your digestive system. Wow. Wow. We're going to get to some of these comments. So the first comment that I seen is a guy saying, "This is literally the only requirement I have for my girl. Do not fart in front of me, and we won't discuss your pooping ever unless it's a medical issue. It's been 17 years and I haven't seen or heard it one single time. That shit is extremely unladylike. If that's too much to ask, keep it moving. If I wanted a dude, I'd just be gay." Now, I'm not going to be disingenuous. This is a ridiculous comment. We'll break that down after this comment. You know, the woman replies, "I think you are gay, man. Not everyone can hold it in. No, actually, no one can or should. It's unhealthy. I don't know about other women, but I'd rather be healthy than ladylike." Now, her calling him gay is obviously an insult, but as far as this comment that he laid out, it's kind of ridiculous, but I kind of get it. You got to understand how attraction works for men and things like that. And certain things like that can be off-putting, but this is the thing, man. I'm not going to lie, man. You know, you are going to see that side of your woman because she's human. And that's the thing that you got to really understand as a guy. It's a fundamental thing. Like these, how she mentioned like the Kardashians poop. Niggas love the Kardashians. They look at them like, oh, goodness gracious, they are so cold and shit like that. They farts and they shit stink. They've blown up bathrooms before. These pretty chicks that you look at all over Instagram be blowing up bathrooms. Always remember that. So I think it's unrealistic to have that expectation. But I can understand how it could disgust you and how it could make you look at a woman different. But let's continue. So we're going back to the comments on his video. The guy who said poop and made fun of the poop. A chick said, "I'm sorry, just to clarify, are you mocking someone sharing their story of abuse?" Let's continue. "Her situation sounds really messed up. I can't laugh at it. How can you?" Again, not laughing at the situation, laughing at poop. Even then, like I said, poop and fart are funny. The guy is a comedian of some sort, Instagram comedian. Let's continue. "Making fun of a girl's trauma is super fun content." Let's continue. "Mocking an abuse survivor for speaking out about what her abuser did to her because she's sharing in an Aussie accent is rank. She is obviously uncomfortable saying it because she has a lot of trauma around the topic. Gee, Psychology 101. No. She has an Australian accent because she is Australian. She is not nervous saying it. That's not why she says poop like poop. No, it's because she's fucking Australian. You see how this person in the comments is just trying to make up a context for why she sounds like she has an Australian accent. Oh no, she's actually from Montana, but when she gets nervous, she turns into an Aussie. Like, fuck out of here. That R and fart time travel. That's a funny comment by a guy. Not even remotely funny, making fun of an accent. So at least she pointed out that he was making fun of an accent instead of being disingenuous. Like, oh, you were making light of her trauma. When she's talking about a controlling partner. So let's get down to the real nitty gritty of this. Women are very sensitive. And of course, that is not news to anybody. They are hypersensitive. And the thing about that, I'll be honest, that is okay. That is what we expect from women. That's just what it is. But where things get funny and things get tricky is when we get into this women are more mature than men, or women are stronger than men, and things like that. Oh, strong women and all these narratives about strong women. This This what's going on in these comments. Again, it's hypersensitivity. Can we be honest for a second? When you see sensitivity in a man, there are certain places where it's acceptable. You know, you say something negative about a man's kids or his mom. That's understandable for a man to be sensitive about that. You know, if he has an insecurity like he's bald and then you say something about that insecurity or something like that, it's understandable for him to be sensitive, but then we question, you know, how sensitive are you? Are you really going over the edge? Are you really ready to commit physical violence over somebody saying something about your head? I'll tell you what we call that in a moment. And then you have somebody, as far as a guy, who is sensitive about just everything and anything. You can't say anything about this guy without him going off the handle emotionally. What would we call that guy? Other than sensitive, sensitivity in a man is looked at as weakness. That's what it's looked at. When you look at somebody like a Wes Watson and how he went off, what do women say about sensitive men as far as like feminists and stuff like that? They say male fragility. What that is used to do is not just emasculate a man, but it's also used to highlight a man's mental weakness. How he has a low tolerance for things that he should be able to tolerate. When you look at this, as far as these comments, it's weak. It's very weak. It's very sensitive, and this is very weak shit. But you have all these oh man, strong woman, this strong woman, oh, strong. This is weak shit right here. And like I said, that's okay, but then you want to give us all this other shit about how strong women are, et cetera, et cetera. And granted, again, I'm not a disingenuous person. A woman actually laughed at this and shared it. That's how it came up on my radar. So even some women find this funny and they don't take this that serious, but on the internet, you get some of the worst batches of people. That's just what it is. But let's shift gears away from that and these people in the comment sensitivity, and let's talk about this abuse, this absolute abuse. Now, when you hear abuse, you're going to think Tina Turner, Ike Turner. You're going to think about things like that. That's going to be the first thing that comes to your mind is going to be DV. But if you watch What's Love Got to Do With It, or you heard Tina's story, it doesn't really begin and end at DV. He was a very threatening guy, as far as Ike. You know, when you talk about controlling, he was very aggressive with what he did. He was very intimidating with what he did to her. And everything was backed by physical violence and things like that. Now, even then, let's take away all the physical. I could tell you a guy, because I've mentioned him on the story before, or on the channel before. I could tell you about a guy who was emotionally abusive to a woman, and it's undeniable. The guy was leeching off her and stuff like that. He was always mean to her. That's like a prerequisite. She bought him a phone. And after she bought him a phone because he broke his last one, like a fucking child, he slammed that one. At some point, he just slammed it. He was always berating her, trying to make her feel less than. He was talking to other girls, just very disrespectful guy. So when it comes to things like that, those are things, when you look at non-physical abuse, as far as like emotional, verbal, and things like that. That's undeniable right there. When we get to this right here, because the whole thing they're trying to say the dude was controlling. He didn't let you poop or fart. Where we have to start is, how does a guy get control over you to where you can't poop or fart? Even furthermore, how do you give another individual that level of control over yourself? Those are questions that nobody is going to ask, because nobody is going to unpack this, because what's going to happen is people are going to see this. They're going to just go, oh, okay, this is her story. Respect her story. It's abuse. They're not going to question, how did you, because in the other situations, it's understandable. It's a slippery slope. I know how those things work. But in a situation where we're talking about something as ridiculous as farting and shitting, something that you're going to like, it's unstoppable. You're going to do it. You have to do it as a human. How did you let it get to this point? And even then, this is the thing about it. She didn't mention that he was intimidating her or anything like that. What she said was, he made me feel so low. Now, this is the funny thing about this, and I know she is an individual. She is an individual. She is one person. So even all this strong stuff that I'm saying, like, I'm not going to be disingenuous. She may not look at herself as a strong woman. And even then, that's how come I'm not putting a heavy amount of criticism on her. This is more about the people in the comments, not her. So with us talking about the people in the comments, let's go to some other popular social media narratives that happen all the time. Let's go through this gem of a tweet from Carrie Hilson. Men who provide emotional security and display wise leadership will get the softest, most feminine, relaxed, trusting, note this part, guard down, also note this part, submissive, nurturing version of their women. Even successful, strong, note that part, women want to feel safe enough to be soft. This is our true nature. The man who makes me feel safe will have the world. So then we go to this next tweet, which says, expecting a woman to be submissive when you don't know how to lead and don't want to provide is wild. So I'm going to be honest. Again, I don't get disingenuous with the things that I say on here. These are two black women. And when it comes to the difference, there is a difference between white and black women and stuff like that. But the one thing I want to note, that first comment that I read on this whole video, that first comment was from a black woman. So on one end, you have women say that our submission is conditional. It has to be unlocked. We are not naturally submissive. We could turn it on and turn it off. Basically, you can't control me. I am a strong woman. I'm going to do what I want. For me to be compliant to you, you have to pay my bills, get my hair and nails done, and do all this other financial stuff. But then you also, on top of providing all that financial stuff, you have to be a good leader. You have to be a good leader. You have to lead well enough in the chances that I give you to where I can finally say, you know what, he's paying for everything and he's made a few good decisions as far as his leadership. So now I am going to take off this masculine act that I always put on, or this default masculinity that I have as a woman, and I'm going to sink into this submissiveness that is my natural state, and I am going to take my guard down and all of that stuff. So you have that on one hand, this popular narrative that women support very heavily. You see it regurgitated. When this pops up in anybody's timeline, that's a woman. They fucking share it. They love it. They fucking start ovulating and nutting everywhere when they see this, right? But then when a woman comes out and says that the guy, something is ridiculous, as the guy that she was with wouldn't let her poop or fart. Poop or fart. He has control over her pooping and farting now. All these women are not only understanding of it, but it's now abuse. And now it's, oh man, she couldn't control herself. He had control over her because he's controlling. And this is an abusive man. And it's, oh my goodness, it's so bad. When you look at the things that women say on social media, you'll find a lot of contradictions. You can even find contradictions in individuals. But regardless, at the end of the day, this is the point. Women will talk all of this weird, strong, weird, fucking built for tough shit. They will talk all this, we not submitting if a dude is not paying shit. And then we get here and they're just so understanding of a woman not being able to fart. But meanwhile, a lot of y'all won't even make a motherfucker a sandwich. How can you, because they're just so, all of them are so understanding. How can you be understanding of that? And how could you say, you know what, because this is the response. If I go and just pitch this to a bunch of chicks without seeing the video, could a dude stop you from farting? Could like, what if you were with a dude and he didn't want you to fart? Even then, because you know I said black women earlier, you'll see white chicks even say shit like, you can't tell me what to do. I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do. That's just what it is. So I just don't get it. I don't get it because it's ridiculous. And at the end of the day, the strong woman shit is just a fucking farce. That's what it is. A lot of women are hypersensitive and they get triggered by certain things. You may even find a triggered woman in the comments of this video. And with that being said, that is it. That is all. I hope y'all have a good day. Please like the video. I'll see y'all later.